What's up, family? This is your man, not your boy. Go black to Africa.
I'm so happy.
We are here today with our sister again.
Hi.
Sister, please introduce yourself again to the people who may not be familiar with you.
Absolutely. People refer to me as Nikema by trade, cognitive behavioral therapy, which is psychotherapy, is what I do. And I'm happy to be here. I'm pleased to be and honored to be on this channel. Thank you.
Thank you for being here, right here. You know, we are meeting again because, it's something that's very important that I believe that we should be able to have an opportunity or option in life to be able to deal with this at moment in time. And having somebody who is in that profession, as well as not only in the profession, but who's growing in a spiritual mindset, if you will, to realize that there are some things that we can benefit from, that others can learn from. Why not have this discussion that are going on within our people across the globe? Our sisters from the UK, and so I hate to say from, but lived in the UK.
Lived in the
We
UK.
all from Africa. Yeah.
I like.
Yeah. So we're just gonna have we're gonna have just a normal, typical discussion and maybe hit on some points. But hey, thank you for each and every one of you all coming in. And let me do one thing here. I'm gonna just give this just a little space. Yeah. And let's see here. Yeah, so we're gonna get into the conversation. Thank you for everybody who's coming in right now. So let's get into it.
Yes. Love the title.
Yeah, relieving the mind, relieving the mind. And a lot of people think that they're woke. They think they're, conscious, intellectual. They think they got all the answers and don't even realize sometimes they're still stuck in those traps.
Absolutely.
That prohibit them from really going even further in who they may be,
Yes.
or even go inwardly deeper who they are.
Yeah.
What are some of the challenges that you might find or that you're hearing from people who reach out to you that is hindering them from going deeper?
There's some people that is scared of the unknown, not sure how deep they go, who would save them when they go that deep. But like you were saying earlier about they're so subtle as well sometimes, you don't even realize. So even sitting on a plane and hearing the captain voice be a black woman instead of a white man's voice, you kind of... and I don't care if you're the most wokest, conscious man or woman, you're still going to feel that because that deep conditioning is there, indoctrination is there. So we always have to be doing that work on self. For me, lately, I've realized, and for the work that I've done on myself, I find that I had to purge myself from the fear of something bad happening to me, or me getting a letter sent, or the government saying this or this, kind of purging. Now, fear is useful for us to be fearful of falling or loud sound. This is a natural. But the fear of what the government might do to us or me, for me, it's an unhelpful fear because it's always future focused. What if, hypothetical. It's kind of like an anxiety. We think, what if something bad will happen? And that can be a poor use of imagination. No disrespect for people who have anxieties. Sorry. So for me, a lot of the time I find that fear is a controller for a lot of people. And it was and can be at times for me. And I think being afraid of what authoritative organizations or people might say and do to me. So when we do the work on reducing that fear, I find that we feel more free. We're able to unlock certain boundaries or blockages. I think you mentioned that on the last video about having those blockages. That helps with that, with untying those blockages or cutting those blockages, if that makes sense.
It does. I mean, the fear definitely is one that will enslave you when it comes to those things that we are, the unknown, as you say, And I get a lot of emails when it comes to people having fear, a fear of even coming to visit.
That's right.
A fear to uprooting and leaving or moving or what have you because of the unknown.
That's right. And we get taught as well to fear the unknown. I think that's a saying, isn't it? Fear the unknown? I don't know. Anyway, but I know that a lot of the times in the Western societies we get told that it's good to know everything, and then you can go and do something. But actually, sometimes we grow so much from not knowing and doing it anyway, having the fear and just jumping. And sometimes it's the best thing that we've ever done in our lives. Now, what I want to say as well is that it's important that we understand ourselves, our boundaries, our capabilities, our likes and dislikes, wants and needs. The more we understand ourselves, the easier it is to navigate these fears. Yeah? That makes sense. Yeah.
Well, I mean, they say, you know, the first lesson in life is to know thyself. And I find that the people that I have discussions with, that very few people spend the time to know themselves. I mean, you know, and like your likes, dislikes, and your fears, your doubts, and all that. Because I think that when you really look at yourself in the mirror and have those true conversations, and you recognize these areas that you should be working on, like you said, you become more freer.
Yes.
When you start to put away those fears.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Be okay with not knowing what you think you should know. Be okay with not knowing what you think you should know. And when we're okay with not knowing what we think we should know, we're able to be open to learn more things and not criticize self, and not, because this society as well, if we don't know so I'm in the field of psychology and I don't know everything, and I'm okay with that. And some people in the Western world may look at me like I should know it because I'm in the field, but actually no, our mind doesn't work like that. Our brains doesn't function like that, and not everything I'm meant to know. And when I should know, I will, because I work in that space. So yeah, like I was saying, we have a lot of microaggressions, macroaggressions, and subliminal kind of, what's the word, critiques of ourselves. We should be like this. I look like this, so I should be like this. I'm in this field, so I should know this. You see what I mean? There's a lot of pressure upon ourselves. Once we recognize the pressure that we put on ourselves and learn to accept that there may be there sometimes, but also let go. This is the day where I'm letting go. I've got, you know, all these pressures on myself. Today I'm just going to be. I'm going to let these pressures come in and just be. And not put pressure on myself to act upon the emotion or the negative thought that comes in. Does that make sense?
It makes sense. It makes sense. You know, I mean, the pressures that, you know, coming from a Western world, I know that, you know, there's a lot of pressure that we put on ourselves because of, I believe it's just a Western mentality.
It is.
You know, that most of their lives are filled with pressure.
It's part of the identity, I think.
You know, I had a conversation with the owner of this place here, the daughter, and you know, she was just sharing with how we stress over things that they don't stress over. You know, they look at things differently than what we would look at things. You know, and so that's why I was saying that, you know, I've said time and time again that Africa can teach us how to let go of those things that we hold near and dear to us as, you know, these lifelong belief systems.
Yeah.
That really means nothing when you can just sit back and relax and just allow those things just to be.
Absolutely. I think it's part of your identity as well, isn't it? Sometimes we have these norms, whether they're social, cultural, or business, whatever type of norms they are, and we've come into a space that don't necessarily have these norms. We kind of feel out of sorts. We feel like, oh, our identity in some sense might have been shaken, if that makes sense, because we hold on to these unhelpful thinking styles or these unhelpful norms because we think it's part of who we are. Going back to our question, know thyself. Know thyself. Once we accept that we can interchange, adapt, we are growing constantly, we are part of a divine creative force, always, always, always. That helps us to, well, that helps me. That helps me to then be able to go into another culture, recognize my social norms, family norms, cultural norms, see it as not who I am, but as part of what I've experienced in my life, and then adapt it to where I am. Yeah, but it takes courage going into self. like you were saying earlier, going into self, seeing our flaws or our weaknesses, and doing work to allow ourselves to be in a certain level that we're comfortable with, making new boundaries or different boundaries, you know?
You know, and we talked earlier too, because, you know, and I was sharing how when you leave your area of comfort and you come here to, let's just say Africa or a different country, doesn't matter. When you thought you were intelligent, you know, smart, and you knew all, and you know, wise in this, you actually become the opposite. You become illiterate, you know, uneducated, because now you're in a place that you don't know the language, you don't know how to get around and navigate.
Social norms.
Norms and all this. Like, you now become this, you're illiterate, you know, you're ignorant, you become uneducated, you become all these things, and people just don't like that.
No, because you're being vulnerable. You're actually vulnerable. You're allowing yourselves, or you come to a place and you're actually vulnerable, and out of that comfort zone. We're comfortable in our comfort zone, aren't we?
Yeah.
And then we've come out of it. It's kind of like, oh my gosh. And again, that helps. That helped me understand who I am. Who I am. How did I receive that feeling of uncomfortability or vulnerability? How did I navigate that? You know, or how much peace have I got in my center? You know.
Yeah.
And it worked. It worked because I do trust in that divine source. People refer to it as God or the Creator or the Almighty, the divine source. I believe that regardless of what happens to me, I am going to be okay. I just have that in me. At the moment. Hopefully it'll stay there for good, but this is what it is right now. And it's been that way for a very long time. So, yeah.
Well, I can attest to that, and you know, I got a couple of memories of when I was faced with my greatest fears, and I wound up being okay. You know, but there again, I remember, you know, when I was about to retire from the military, and I was stressing over where am I going to move. Okay, my military career is over with. It's time for me to leave. I knew I wasn't going to stay in Delaware. I'm not sure you're familiar with the states of America, but Delaware is a northern state where it's cold and snow, and I was stationed up there in the military. Well, my days came to an end where I decided I'm retired, I'm done. Now, where do I want to live? But I was fretting over, I don't want to place my family maybe in a place that is going to cause them more pain and harm. You know, because in America, you know, depending on where you are living.
Like the UK?
Yeah, you place your family in some areas, it can bring on a lot of stress and unwanted, you know, issues.
Attention because of the way you look.
Either the way you look, it could be with your own people.
Oh.
It could be even with the others. So I mean, it bothered me so much. And I remember the one day where it was just like, I was just like, okay, all right, Lord, because I have my strength, my creator. And I just remember hearing, no matter where you go, I'm there.
I love those voices.
No matter where you go, I'm there. And when I heard that, it's just like the stress went, shoo. And then I'm like, okay, all right. So I did my due diligence, meaning that, okay, what area, what state, what town would I find that I can go and build this kingdom, if you will? And it was the perfect place for me.
Let's not underestimate that divine source.
You know what's so funny about that, y'all? Here's the funny thing. Back then, I had my businesses, a barber beauty shop. And the first place I opened up my barber beauty shop and my beauty supply store was in Colorado Springs.
Oh, okay.
Colorado Springs. That was the name of the city, okay? Keep that in mind, Colorado Springs. The second place I opened up, so I was stationed there, I moved there, I went to Washington, D.C. The second place I opened up my barber shop was Temple Hills.
Temple Hills.
Maryland.
Oh.
Colorado Springs, then Temple Hills, Maryland. My third place, when I retired from the military, listen, just check this out. When I retired from the military, right? And I went through this whole stress, like, where am I gonna live? 50 states, where would I go?
Sure.
You know, I discussed this with my wife and everything at the time, and it was just like, I don't know, you know, when I let go and I realized that, okay, this is the place, I found this place. Didn't even think about it until probably I was there about a year. This place I landed in,
Go on.
the place I landed in, now, check this out. Let me just go ahead, 'cause people know I tell these stories. People say, get on with the story, get on with the story. That's what some people say, come on with it. When I finally found this place, actually, it was interesting. I found a realtor on the internet.
Yeah.
And they asked me, okay, narrow down where you want to stay, right? And then they can tie me into a
Yeah.
realtor, whatever states that's there. Well, my ex is from Tennessee. I said, let's check out Tennessee area, Nashville area.
Sure.
Let's check out Georgia. Let's check out this. Anyway, we narrowed down to Tennessee, Nashville. Got with a realtor. I was flying troops, the military, down to Mississippi. On the way back, when I dropped them troops off, on the way back, I was stopped through Tennessee.
Okay.
And I met this realtor. She showed me this town. The name of the town was called Spring Hill.
You better start. I'm gone.
I didn't even think about this.
See you later.
And then I opened my third shop. Now, remember, Colorado Springs. The second place I had my barbershop was Temple Hill, Spring Hill. The third place was Spring Hill. I didn't even think about this until we bought the house, everything. I got my barbershop up and running. And then all of a sudden, one day I was in my shop and I was thinking when I was doing a commercial for my shop. And I was sharing with my barbers. I brought my old commercials from my other shop that I had, showing them the commercials I made and the commercial I was trying to build. And it dawned on me, Colorado Springs, Spring Hill, Colorado Spring, Temple Hills, now this one is Spring Hill. It was like,
Ta-da! Yeah. Divine intervention, right? there.
yeah, you know, it was like,
And you didn't think about it, you just went, and it felt right when you chose these individual places. We should never underestimate that divine creative force. Mountains are moved, earth is turned.
because the fear, actually, when you make decisions under fear, you may regret the decision you made. You know?
Yeah.
But when you
Yeah.
release and just be like, okay, let me go with the flow.
Yeah.
And let me see where this, guides me. It's
But you connected to your divine force, right?
Yeah.
You asked for help. You're kind of like, what do I do? And then, okay, that's all you have to do. Ask the question, and then things will come and appear. If we allow it to, if we see it, and
Yeah.
I was gonna say something. Sorry.
no,
Yeah.
because our conditioned minds are put in a box.
Yes.
But when we come out of it, using our intellect and our wit, trying to devise something, man, I'm telling you, it's amazing when you get out of that way.
Yes, I agree. Go
Yeah.
with the intuition. Go with that spiritual energy, if you like. I love that. I love it.
So now, how would you recommend for those who are trying to tear down those roadblocks, those come the walls, tear down those walls, to maybe, what are some other things that
I
people
love
can
that.
do?
It depends on who they are. Or, let's start with this. Anybody. I like to ask myself a set of questions. Who am I? So it's about identity and purpose. Who am I? Am I all that I say I am? And this is from a black psychologist. I think his last name is Thomas. I cannot remember his name, but I'll get his details so you can put it in the bio. But he talks about actually who we are. We're not just our name. We're not just, a daughter, a mother, a father, husband. There is only one of you. There is only one of me. Even if I was a twin, there is only one of me. Who am I? And am I all I say I am? Am I congruent with who I think and say I am? In my behaviors, in my thought patterns, in my, who do I want to be? If I'm not happy with who I am, who do I want to be? Is there somebody out there or someone that I know of who resembles the qualities, characteristics, the skills that I want to have or be, and even write them down. Write them down. You know, what do I do to be more congruent? Consistency. Being boundaried and consistent with yourself. Start with self first. It's not about being selfish, it's about being self-compassionate. People might have families, people might have responsibilities. Obviously prioritize, but I want people to at least spend an hour, at least 1 hour a week on self. We invest our times in our cars or our houses or our clothes or whatever it is, and we make sure they're clean, or we make sure the car's serviced. Have we serviced ourselves? Have we had an MOT? I don't know if you guys have MOTs in the States, but or in parts of Europe. Have we looked, the car's pristine, but when we jump in it, we don't feel good.
Yeah.
We need to do the MOT on ourselves. Go to your GP if you trust them and get a check of your blood levels, your iron levels, your magnesium levels, your all the different types of things that's going to make you function correctly. You know, that's the first thing I would probably ask people to do. First of all, go to the GP or go to your local doctors if you trust them. Get a checkout, a whole checkout. What are you lacking in? You can help with sleep if you get certain things. So do that physical check, and then with your mind, who am I? Am I all that I say I am? What am I doing in my behaviors, my thought patterns, the way I breathe to help myself, you know? And then just start there. That might be just 2 starting points. Get some therapy. Plug in to tailored therapy. I'm not for everybody, and that's okay. That is okay.
You know what's so funny, family? If you even descendants of those who were in the transatlantic slave trade, you are a product of the UK. I'm a product of America. Listen to her accent and then listen to mine. And then when we engage in a conversation, look at the perception and then check my perception. You know, we have been conditioned in different ways from different countries.
That's right.
From those who really have conditioned us, and we believe we're something beyond than what we really are.
Absolutely.
And you can see by the accent, or hear the accent, as well as hear my accent. You know, it's funny, when people over in the UK, I was over there, over in Europe, you know, and I was over in London. And people kept telling me and said, "Oh, I love your accent." And I said to myself, I don't have an accent. What are they talking about? I don't have an accent. They're like, "Oh, I love your accent, I love your accent." And it's like, I had to think about it. And I'm like, wow, you know, I'm speaking different from where their ears are picking it up.
That's right.
In actuality, they've made us all different.
That's right.
Based upon where we're living in their worlds.
That's right. Because if we had a West Indian guy sitting down or woman sitting down, they would have a different accent.
Different accent.
You know? But you're absolutely right.
I might do that.
Why not?
Just get our brothers and sisters who's lived in different portions and have conversations to see how our perceptions are all different. How we've been conditioned based upon those countries we've been in.
I love that. Have a topic or two maybe to discuss. I know a Trinidadian brother who's here. He's been here since September.
Yeah.
So I'll reach out to him and speak
I
to
know
him.
a brother who just came out from Canada. Yeah. And then I know a few people. So, you know, we'll do that because we're talking about the conditioning of the mind, relieving the mindset of those things that we wholeheartedly believe that we are or aren't.
Or aren't. Which can be blockages for us at times.
Blockages.
You know?
Blockages, yeah.
So absolutely. For me, and what I was saying earlier, just to reiterate for whoever's coming in right now and hadn't heard, but first of all, for me, it's a mind, body, and soul thing, yeah? And I talk about going to the GP and getting a checkup, a general checkup. If you trust your general practitioner, go to them, find out what your iron levels are, what your sugar levels are, what your magnesium levels are, all the different levels, vitamin D levels, very important for black people or people of darker hue. And if there are deficiencies, you should know that the way we think is going to be challenged, the way we sleep is going to be challenged, you know, our behaviors are going to be challenged. So once we've done that, that's the biological side of things. Then we've got the mindset, setting our mind, resetting. who am I? Ask yourself who I am. And this is in regards to your identity, your level of perception of how people receive you. Am I all that I say I am? You know, are you being consistent in your behaviors? Are you being consistent in your thought patterns? Are you seeking out help to support changing and retraining the way you think? And spiritually, I talked about being the divine force. Always know that everything is going to be okay and be connected. Breathing techniques is really useful for connecting with spirit, because the breath, they say, is connected to the spirit. If we don't have breath after 3 minutes, we're not here. We can do without water and food for weeks, but breath is essential and crucial to survival on a day-to-day basis. Are we even breathing right? Is it shallow breathing? Quick. Because if we're shallow breathing and quick breathing, we're more likely to feel anxious, more likely to feel angry, irritated, annoyed. Yeah. Sorry.
Some modalities and where one can increase their vitality,
Yes.
if you will.
Holistic vitality, I like.
Yeah, you know, I mean, these are things, you know, we all think about. Now, you mentioned about like blood work and stuff like that. You know, when you get the blood work, talk to your doctor, you know. For those who I know, my wife is a physician, so, you know, she's always on top of my blood work, you know. Even though we still have some tongue wrestlings over, you know, sometimes levels that are when ours are different.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's very important. The medical system is based upon white people
Yeah,
and white mice,
yeah,
because that's what they experiment on. They don't experiment on the dark melanated mice.
Yeah.
So the outcome for the white mice is going to be different for the dark mice. So we have to understand that. It's going to be we're going to react differently depending on our hue. Biologically, we're different. I'm not trying to say, and difference is okay. There's darker skinned people, there's lighter skinned people. It's okay. Difference is welcomed. There's different plants, different species of animals. Nothing is meant to be the same, you know? Holistically.
roadblocks, family, you know, and this right here is what, you know, Go Black to Africa is going black. Going black. The most purest color there is. We've been told white is the purest color. This is the mindset and conditioning. Think about it. Think about this. They said the pure color is white, right? In order to get this, you must extrapolate all of its important essence that you must extract and take away from. That doesn't make it pure no more.
Exactly.
If you take, you know, white pure sugar is what they call it. No. Anything that has not been touched or manipulated and it stays to its original sense is pure.
Wow. It
But
is.
we have this white shirt was bleached.
That's right.
It was to get that color.
That's right. Like the sugar.
Like the sugar, like the
Flour.
flour, all these things, because if you really grind up flour, it will be brown. We don't have it here, but you know, here they don't have white sugar, they have brown sugar.
Yes, they do. They do. I've noticed that.
They have brown sugar here, not that white sugar that they call pure. No, it's not pure. So this is one mindset that we really believe. We're running around having white outfits, running
That's right.
around thinking that it's, you know, a pure, and we wear these outfits thinking that it's something, when in actuality, why isn't it black?
Exactly.
We wear black to death, and we were supposed to be wearing these white clothes to life or celebrations. This is the conditioning that we're in, that they have done in order for us to believe our skin color is inferior and there's a superior. Bunch of bull crap.
It is, absolutely. Scientifically, black absorbs everything. The color black absorbs everything.
That's why we don't burn. And white repels. And it bounces off, and that's why you get skin burn. That's sunburn. That's why they gotta put if y'all watch my video that I put up about sunscreen lotion, what is it doing to the white person's skin?
Absolutely.
It is putting a layer, and under the UV light, it's actually making their skin, to the appearance of UV, black.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
And when they showed it,
imagine that.
and when they showed the camera to the people, what actually their skin looks like to the UV, they were all shocked. But it's actually making their skin black, because black absorbs.
But they're not going to teach us that.
No.
Because they're telling us we need to be doing this too. We need to
Putting it on.
this, you know? Because it's about money. It's all about commerce. It's all about money. You know what I mean?
The conditioning of the mind.
It's all about money.
Conditioning of the mind.
It is.
All right, so what else we got here? You know, because we're just having conversations, family, and this right here hopefully is helping those to realize there's so many roadblocks or blockages in our mindset that can keep us from where we really need to get to.
That's right.
Because based on fear, you know, based on, you know, the doubts, indoctrinations.
Yeah. Like I said earlier, people refer to me as Nikema. Nikema is not who I am. Nikema is just a name. We are not our names. It's just what people refer to us as. And I think this segues nice and neatly to the exemption. What do you think?
Well, this is how I see it. In my experience and my understandings, names have meaning.
Yeah, they do.
And where in the Western world, names are insignificant. And I've spoke to certain different tribes and stuff where no. We name our children because we want them to walk in the name.
It's like a rite of passage, isn't it? It's
Yes.
a beautiful thing.
Yes.
I love that.
Yes, because I mean, and then it doesn't mean that you are just that.
That's right.
But I mean, if you named your child, you know, royalty, and then you explain to your child, this is what you are, well, they're going to behave and they're going to be able to walk into that and look at themselves as such.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's classical conditioning.
Yeah.
Western psychologists look, is it Pavlov, that looked at classical conditioning. How do we condition the mindset? If you treat somebody a particular way, after a while they will automatically respond in a particular way. And that's part of the naming thing. If you are, and sounds of words is very vibrational, very much frequency driven. So if I'm shouting a negative word to you for 21 days, non-stop, guaranteed, after that 21 days, you hear that, you'll have a specific response to the point where it's going to be negative.
Yeah.
If I do the same thing with love and abundance and beauty, you're going to have, after that 21 days, as soon as you hear that vibrational sound, you know, conditioning. So with words and naming, I agree with that. Yeah. I absolutely.
If you all look up YouTube and look up the water, speaking negative and positive into the water, and they put it under this what do you call it, the microscope?
Microscope, yeah. Absolutely.
Microscope. You will. They do this high intense microscope thing, where when they have people speak negative into the water, they will see the molecular structure of it. That's like. You
yes,
know?
because I
And when you
this.
speak the positive into it, they found it was very bright and vibrant.
You could do it at home actually. Have 2 glasses of water, speak negative to one, speak positive to the other, and freeze it. Freeze them.
I've seen where they did like you put like a
ice cube or
plant or something inside of it and do the same thing.
You can do it with a plant. 2 plants, one here, one positive, one negative. Exactly the same plants, 2 weeks, and see what happens.
You know, it's interesting because, you know, here in the last 2 weeks, I've corrected 2 individuals who referred to me as bro. And they are younger in age than me. And I corrected them. And I said, let me ask you a question. If I was Tanzanian, and would you refer to me as bro and I'm your elder? And they apologized.
And so they should. They need to check themselves.
Yes. Hey, look, if I'm coming in to mingle in and I'm going to embrace the culture and you know that, hey.
Shikamo, Baba.
Shikamo. And, you know, I'm here to embrace the culture. And you think because I'm coming from America that you think that you can refer to me as the name bro. Now you have this sense that I believe the lack of respect.
That's right.
And so I've corrected 2. They apologized, and that because I'll be 55. I'm not going to let no youth sit here and say, what's up, bro? No, I'm sorry, dude. No, I'm sorry.
And what you're doing there, subconsciously or unconsciously, is telling yourself that actually I have boundaries. And it's okay to have boundaries. It's okay to actually command respect, especially or only if you give it. So the way in which you ask them to approach you in the future, I'm assuming was respectful, because then they were able to kind of have that in the future. So if you give out respect, you command it, you can request it. You know, you can't just ask for respect. And
Okay.
what are you doing to
Yeah.
make the cycle, make the momentum go? You can't just expect respect from people and you're not giving it out, even in the mannerisms in which you're speaking and talking to people.
You know, we say this right here, you know, you have to earn respect. See, that's a European concept. Me earning, yes, I understand. It's okay, they think that, okay, you got to do actions and stuff to gain respect. I see that in a sense, but me growing into an age, see, here in Africa, they already know that guy's older than I must refer to him with the respect.
That's right.
Because this guy is older, not only by
right.
just the age. This person holds something
That's right.
that I don't have. Because there's a distinguish here. Here's the interesting thing. You know, especially when you get more into the city, you see less of the elders. It's like it's more younger people out here. When you go to the villages, and I'm told you can find more of the elders and stuff. But they already know these are the ones who hold the wisdom. You know, I've seen one accident the other day, and I was told already that typically when there's a road accident, the people get out of their car and they seek someone who's an elder, and they will be the facilitator, the mediator in the between, and figure out who's at fault. They don't call the police. And I saw that the other day.
I love that.
There was a guy there that he was discussing with both of them, and he was resolving the issue. The elder.
That's natural law.
Yeah.
That's natural law. That's nature, you know, because that person has the most amount of years on the planet, therefore they should know a little bit more or have that authoritative way about them to kind of help navigate the situation, or that respect. Yeah, I love that. I love that. I love that.
And so, coming from the Western world, we have total different conditioned mindsets.
We have to look young, younger looking skin, and okay, young is best. People don't want to tell their age because I'm getting on in my age, and you're thinking, oh my God, younger is better in the West. When we're younger, we don't have the knowledge that we do when we're, say, in our 20s. You hear women and men say that, I wish I knew what I knew now.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
but it's not meant to be. 20s we're meant to learn, get to overstand self. 40s now we should have overstand self and walking in our purpose, in our purpose, in our yeah. So yeah, I'm so glad you've seen that. I love that, and that's natural to me. That's natural.
People here they don't look at their age as a shame thing as they get older. They look at it as like a, you know, hey, you're taking on a responsibility now. You know, you're looked upon. This happened just the other day. There's a guy who has a little store, right? Like a convenience store. And I typically will go over there maybe twice out of the week. And just yesterday, I walked by his shop, and this was the first time, I've had conversation before, but this was the first time I said to him, Shikamu. And when I said Shikamu, he was like,
Oh,
he's learning, he's understanding now. And because I recognize, because typically I call him Babu, granddad. But then it dawned on me, like, I never said Shikamu to him. And when I said Shikamu, he clapped his hands. And he was just like, oh, he's respecting me, because Shikamu means to I give you the respect.
as an older person or
As
an
a
elder, yeah.
right.
Shikamo baba, shikamo mama.
Yeah.
And then you'd say marahaba.
Merhaba, yes. So here,
Beautiful.
the conditioning, West conditioning mind is more of running away from your age, and it's like it's a shame to tell your age, when here it's embraced and it's with dignity, it's with the, you know, I stand with the honor of being finally here at this place that I'm looked upon as one who has, that doesn't happen over in America.
It doesn't, not even a little bit.
No.
So that's a rites of passage right there as well. A rites of passage coming to of a certain age. We need them as youngsters. We need them in our 20s. And that is just for us to help our psyche understand. Okay, this is my purpose. That's why I feel like the identity crisis is happening in the West, because there aren't any of those rites of passages, those kind of markers in life to help us gauge who and what we are.
Yeah.
And we need them. We need to bring them back or continue practice them more and more, because there are some places in Africa that still practice certain things.
Yeah.
And I want to push collectivism. I need to push for that. I love that.
Yeah. Well, let me mention this too, so that those know, because the children are taught very early at age. So a child 9 years old could say she can move to a 15-year-old. Because they're understanding that this person is older than I am, and also that one that I can look and lean to, you know, for their understanding and wisdom. So everybody along the chain is always an elder to one behind them. So you don't have to wait to become 50, 60, 70 years
In
old.
order to get that. Yeah.
Right.
I love that.
That's the whole mindset where we used to be years ago.
Yes.
Was that I remember that somebody in their 20s could correct you if you was a 12-year-old,
Yeah.
13, 14-year-old.
And that's what it is, and that's what it should be.
Yeah.
Because actually then that 12-year-old sees that 20-year-old as like, okay, good, this is their purpose at 20. When I get to 20 or even 15 or 18, that's my purpose for the youngsters as well. It's like the momentum keeps on in regards to the cycle of life and what we need to continue doing. You'll probably see 8-year-olds, 5-year-olds, and kind of, you know, teaching and learning and from each other or to each other. So I love it. I think it's beautiful.
It's a chain of command, if you will, that each one are, no matter your age, I don't care if it's 8 years old, being the elder, to teach that young one, 5 years old, stay on the street, grab them, hold their hand, that everybody plays this collective responsibility,
Yes.
looking out for each other.
Very much so.
That's a beautiful thing, where in America, everything's disconnected.
It is disconnected.
Everybody disrespecting each other. You got the
Yeah.
elder trying to act like the youth, and the 20-year-old is acting like the 15-year-old, and the 50-year-old acting like the 20-year-old, and it's like conditioning mindset.
They've done a number on us. They've done a numbers of numbers on us.
Well, as time goes on and we forget really our own culture and who we are as a people, and we embrace another culture and we take on those mindsets, is where we see then that we behave totally different than they do. And what I mean by that, you know, there are just some things that are not meant for certain cultures.
Yeah, I agree with that.
That it can be catastrophic.
I agree.
Catastrophic.
I agree.
If you are embracing another culture, that you embrace it and you behave in it, it might be detrimental to you.
I agree. I absolutely agree. You're
And
talking
so-
from a biological standpoint, or just the whole thing?
Well, like the whole thing. I mean, like,
I like
okay.
that, yeah.
I mean, if you look, okay, Europeans, right? We'll just say European, because most of us lived in the West, right?
Sure.
That, you know, and so there are things that they know that are good and bad for them.
Yeah.
But they never took the time, like we're talking about blood work, they never took the time to find out what is good and not bad for us. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, like, if you want to look at eating certain type of way, eating certain foods,
yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
where it is, you know, if you are in, most Europeans love cold weather, not much sun. That's detrimental to us.
It is.
We behave, when our vitamin D's plummet, my wife's a doctor, y'all, you will see psychological issues happen.
Yes.
When you are in areas that have more cloudy, less sun, vitamin D's begin to drop, and all of a sudden you start to behave in different fashions. That's why they even say that in these climates that you don't have a lot of sun, suicides go up, misbehaving goes up. Which, if you think about it, why then do you have in America New York City high crime, Chicago higher crime, Detroit higher crime, Milwaukee higher crimes? These are northern cities. Now today you're starting to see it spread around the globe because of habitual behaviors that people see and watch.
Yeah.
But most of the higher crime areas in America are northern states.
In Britain, the higher crime areas are actually not London. It's Glasgow. It's Glasgow, so it's north. It's north, and it's more white people, God bless them, and alcoholism. But you're right. You're absolutely right. There's other factors as well as poverty and other things as well.
Yeah.
But in terms of the climate, yes. If people are in those parts of the world who are of a darker hue, a prescription for a holiday in the sun should be as standard.
Yeah.
I was trying to get a holiday out of my GP. Didn't work. Didn't work like that.
Yeah.
They want to feed me with prescription. You know, pharmaceuticals. I've invested so much money and they get a lot of money. They don't get a lot of money for me going and actually healing myself.
I mean, if truth be told,
Yeah.
they're still trying to figure out why this COVID doesn't have much effect on these African nations. You know, they said, why is Haiti, Jamaica, Africa, and these warm climates that the COVID is not running rampant?
What's the common denominator?
We are a sun people.
The sun is here.
When
Why
your
is it so
vitamin D is up,
difficult?
when your vitamin D is up and that your health is okay, you are good. Now here's the thing, then people going to argue, well, there's still black people there that's getting COVID, all this right here. You know what? I see Africans run from the sun and hide in shade all day long.
Yep.
There are those who stay away from the shade. There are those who will walk with an umbrella
That's
to
right.
cover the sun from
That's
hitting them.
correct.
When they don't realize the sun is your friend.
The medicine, the sun.
So even those who might subject themselves to shade and run from the sun, you're going to find, do the blood work and see where
Yes.
their vitamin D levels are.
Absolutely, I agree with that. Even in the UK, people, black women or mixed race people, or, you know, people of a darker hue, didn't want to go in the sun because they didn't want to get too dark. And the sun's medicine. Vitamin D, not just vitamin D, vitamin D3, which you can only get from the sun, and apparently an Alaskan salmon only. You can get Alaskan salmon, vitamin D3, and the sunlight. So if we're certain levels away from the sun, from the equator, we're not getting that D3, vitamin D3. Don't take our word for it. Do some research.
Who has the highest COVID cases in Africa? South Africa. Why? Because they have a larger white population. And if you knew anything about the weather patterns there in South Africa, they get snow there. They have a winter just like, you know, just
Certain
like
parts of Europe
in certain
and
parts of
America.
In Europe. This is why the sun is very important, you know.
Very.
But now the condition of the mind is that they're not going to tell you that.
No, they're not.
No, they're going to make it seem like it's just something that's just unknown. Why is it that these? So they'll stay away from that.
That's right.
They're not going to tell people, oh, the sun, because, like you said, money.
Money and knowledge doesn't create money for them. Ignorance creates money for them. Followers, sheeple, I like to call people. Sheeple brings them energy and money. And if we allow the government to not think for us, stop thinking for us, and do that research ourselves, and be okay with actually being blown away by the facts that are out there, we're good to go. We're good to go. We can then make informed decisions. Absolutely. Yeah. I just love this.
In closing, because we're coming here on a closing, so we got about 10 minutes here left there, because I
Yeah.
want to keep this at least an hour.
Nice.
You know, what do you have? What other gems would you like to
Oh,
share,
crikey.
or something that
Pressure.
pressure?
What other gems would I like to?
You just said the word. You didn't even know it. Pressure.
Oh, yeah, right? Yeah,
High blood pressure,
exactly.
yeah.
I know, right?
Pressures of life, or whatever.
I know, right? Okay, so I would invite people to take time out. I think I said it earlier. Take time out and just spend that time with self. Spend that time with self, whether it's breathing techniques, whether it's just being in your thoughts or not having any thoughts at all, doing yoga or doing whatever. Spending time. If the more you invest in yourself, the more returns you will see, the more you'll feel. Yeah, I don't know.
I'll say this, right? Let me add on to that plate of food you just gave them. You know, for me, that I have found very effective in my life, like you said, is the self-assessment. Now, I say this at times is that it's hard for people to grade their own report card because we are biased for ourselves. We think we're perfect, we're good, loving people, and to go in the four corners within to sweep out the dirt. Very few people want to acknowledge they have dirt, but if you would be real with yourself, just to be able to point out those areas that you know are hindrance, whether they're fears, whether there are biases and prejudices and stuff, that you can acknowledge, whether it's the wrongdoings you've done, knowing how to forgive, knowing how to accept, then for myself, what I found was it was very effective for me now to move forward and become even that much more of a prosperous person spiritually.
I love that. I love that. Absolutely. And on the opposite, some people might actually think they've got more dust in their closet or whatever.
Some might, yeah.
And actually, there isn't that much dust. It ain't that deep.
That's a good way to look at it, yes.
Absolutely. And actually, we shouldn't be so critical of ourselves. We should be like this. We should be doing this. Let's just be. Let's just be. Let's just be.
And that's acceptance.
It is.
Acceptance, acceptance. Because some people are hard on themselves. Like, I got so much dirt to clean up. And really, it's really about doing that assessment and just seeing how can you just move forward
bit by
in the
bit.
betterment. Bit by bit in the betterment of oneself.
Start with one corner and clean that. Start with one room and do that. Stages. Pola, tada, tibu. Slowly.
Slowly.
Absolutely. So
Appreciate you, my sister, being here.
It's an honor.
Please tell the people your YouTube channel.
Oh yes. It's
information.
Tailored Therapy. That's my business. Personal is at KEAMZT. Keems T.
Hold on, you lost me. Because they say Z, we say Z.
Z.
So we want to make sure now.
Z and Z. So
what is your YouTube channel? Say that again.
So the YouTube is Tailored, TAYLORD Therapy, Tailored Therapy or Tailored Therapy. That's the YouTube. The IG is at Tailored Therapy, and my personal is at KEAMZ, and with a T, so Keems T, because that was the only one available.
That's all right.
Yes, plug in, send me messages. I look forward to hearing from you guys. I've got my own channel as well, guys. So
she's starting out, so hey, check her out.
Yes, please.
And it's just another sister right here who is doing some magnificent work that I am trying to, incorporate with even in my channel, so that I can point people in directions where they may have.
I appreciate that.
Oh, of course.
A lot of people have needed this, and I've said they've reached out. So thank you to those that have reached out. Love your messages, every single one of them, and I've got back to as much as I possibly can. You've really
because it was
helped.
That video is 37,000 views already.
I only thought it was 16.
No, it's like 37,000 views. Yeah. You need to go back on there and answer them daggone comments.
Let's get back on there. Absolutely, I'm ready. Thank you, guys.
Yeah. So anyway, appreciate it, everybody. Thank you for chiming on in. And for those who've watched, please share if you so care to, if you think this can benefit somebody.
Yes.
And we appreciate each and every one of you all. This is your man. This is your woman.
Woman, not your girl.
Go black to Africa. Peace out, family.